Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you part 6 of What If Spider-Man Was in Teen Titans. In the last part, we covered Peter succumbing to the darkness of the symbiote. He became Venom, and with the help of his friends, he managed to free himself. Peter has now grown closer to them, and he and Raven finally understand each other after a long time of a strained relationship. With that out of the way, let's begin. The scene opens with Peter seemingly swinging through the city. His suit is torn up. From what it appears, he's running from something or someone. That's when Peter is suddenly hit by a black tendril. Peter slams into a tiled rooftop before stumbling off and hitting the ground with a hard thud. The figure chasing Peter reveals itself: Venom. Peter weakly gets up, trying to escape, but Venom pins him down. Venom then shoots out tendrils and covers Peter, suffocating him, and soon his vision fades to black for a moment. But suddenly his eyes open as he sits up, screaming. He looks around. He's in the common room, lying on the couch. Everyone is staring at him, extremely concerned. Robin is the first to ask if Peter's okay. Peter nods and just says it was a nightmare. Cyborg then says it didn't look like any normal nightmare. Beast Boy adds on to this, saying that Peter was screaming in his sleep. Peter apologizes for startling everyone. They all reassure him, saying that it's fine and he needs to stop apologizing for this stuff. Peter rubs the back of his forehead as he's still processing the nightmare he just had. He explains what happened. He was swinging away from something. Venom. He couldn't run away no matter how fast he went. Venom was always 2 steps ahead. Eventually, Venom caught up to him and started forcing the symbiote back onto him. He couldn't see, he couldn't breathe. It felt so real, like it was still part of him somehow. Cyborg then asks if he can run a small biomolecular scan on Peter, just to see if there's any remaining symbiote inside of him. Peter, of course, agrees, and then they all go to medbay. Cyborg then performs the scan, and unfortunately, because Peter had the symbiote on for such a long time, it's bonded with Peter on a cellular level, meaning some residual cells are still inside of his body. This is not the news that Peter wanted to hear, and of course, he's anxious, in case it ends up turning him into a monster again. Realizing he's about to start spiraling, Peter decides to take a breather. So he stands up and saying that he needs some fresh air, and goes to head outside for a bit. They all understand and let him go. Peter sits by the river of the tower, calming himself by staring at the scenery of the city around him. After a short while, Raven walks outside. He smiles at her, moving over so she can join him. She asks how he's holding up. He says he's alright, just shaking up quite a bit. She nods understandingly. After a moment of silence, Raven then asks Peter if he really thought that she hated him. Peter blinked, glancing at her before responding that no, not hate. He just thought he was really annoying to her. Raven's lips curled in a faint smirk, saying that yes, he is, but not to the point where she can't stand being around him. Her expression softens a bit before continuing to say that she actually likes him a lot. He's funny, he cares a lot about people, and he lights up a room by just being Peter. But sometimes he's really reckless. He runs in head first, gets himself hurt, or he's late because he's busy with school. Things like that to her feel smaller. That's because she doesn't do school. Because she doesn't do people, really. So she doesn't understand those kinds of responsibilities. Admittedly, she misjudged him quite a bit. Peter stayed quiet, listened to her as she continues to say that he carries the entire city on his back. He blames himself when others get hurt, and then hides it so no one else worries. She thought he was some goofball who just climbed walls. She didn't understand how much Peter was struggling. Her voice dropped to a whisper as she continues to say that it turns out he's a lot like her. She shuts people out because she's scared to get close. Peter, he gets close to people, but he never lets anyone see him bleed. Peter's gaze met hers, and for a moment, neither spoke. Peter broke eye contact first, staring at the city lights. He then states that she's right about one thing: he doesn't let people see him bleed, because if they did, they might not like what's underneath. Raven tilted her head slightly, listening to him as he continues to say that it wasn't just Venom in that nightmare. That thing, that was part of him. Not in the it took over his brain kind of way, but more like it gave him permission. Permission to stop holding back. The symbiote didn't change him, it just amplified what was already there. Every dark thought, every flash of anger, every time he thought, what if I didn't pull my punches? It made those feelings easy to act on, and he liked it. That's the part that scars him the most. Raven's gaze didn't waver, as she asked if he's afraid of himself. Peter gave her a humorless chuckle, counter-questioning her by asking, "Isn't she?" She didn't answer right away. Peter continues again, saying that he told himself that he got rid of it because it was evil. But the truth is, he got rid of it because he saw who he was with it. He didn't want to find out how far he'd go if he kept wearing it. Silence hung between them for a moment, the kind of silence where nothing more needed to be said. Finally, Raven spoke again, her tone soft but resolute. She says that he may think that makes him dangerous, but she thinks it makes him human. Peter glanced at her, a small, grateful smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. He thanks her for talking with him about it all. She smiles and says that he can talk to her anytime. If anyone knows anything about inner demons, she's the person to go to. Peter nods and says that he will, as long as she starts to open up too. She raises an eyebrow, saying that that's a tall order to be asking of her. Peter then smiles a bit more and says that she's not the only one who can give out conditional offers. She smirks and says that she'll consider it before going inside, saying that he should get some proper sleep. He nods and thanks her again for everything, before returning back to his goofy nature and asking if this means they're buddies now. Raven gives him a gentle smile before saying, "Of course," heading into her room. And for some reason, that genuine smile from her made him blush a little. Things in the tower from then on return to their normal dynamic, although Peter and Raven are far nicer to each other than before. They may bicker here and there, but it's over small to insignificant things, such as Peter leaving toothpaste unsealed when staying over, or Peter just being intentionally annoying to Raven like a brother would to a sister, or as Cyborg and Beast Boy would put it, an old married couple. It adds more personality to the tower if there wasn't enough already. Time passes and Robin also gets into contact with you-know-who, asking if he can donate to the hospital to help Peter with May's hospital bills. He happily does so, recognising how valuable Spider-Man is to the team and how much of a good friend he is to Robin. Robin doesn't tell Peter, because he doesn't need to. But Peter is quick to realise, once May quickly recovers and the doctor says that Bruce Wayne gave a high donation to the hospital. Soon May is let out of the hospital and Peter spends some time with her. One night at dinner, Peter says to tell May the truth, as he can't keep hiding this from her forever. He explains that he's Spider-Man. May is surprised by this fact, and Peter apologises for hiding this from her for so long. May simply smiles and says that he has nothing to apologise for, and that she's proud of him. Very proud. And Ben would be too, if he were still here. Peter smiles at this, and May then asks if the Titans all live in that big tower. Peter nods, and May then says that she understands why Spider-Man was always the last to arrive. She apologizes herself, saying it's probably because he's living here that he's always late. Peter shakes his head, saying of course not, and it's just him not being fast enough. May puts a hand on his, saying that he should move in with them. He's a hero, they need him, and she knows that he'll be safe with them around. Peter says he can't just abandon her. She laughs, saying that he's not abandoning her. As long as he calls at least once every day and visits her every weekend, then she's happy with him living there. Peter then smiles a little, asking if she's really sure about this. She nods, with a proud smile on her face. Peter eventually agrees, but promises to visit every weekend. Time passes and Peter moves into the Titan's tower. Everyone is ecstatic when he moves in finally. Life at the tower settles into a new rhythm with Peter living there full time. Mornings start with the usual chaos, Cyborg tinkering with some tech project, Beast Boy transforming into random animals just to annoy everyone, and Robin alright strategizing plans before breakfast. Peter falls into the rhythm quickly, finding comfort in the predictability of the tower's energy. He grows closer to the team, and finally fixes the problem of him being late to missions, mostly. Raven, though, is far less harsh when he is late, understanding that he needs to hide his identity somehow. Cyborg also, now that Peter is living here full time, can finally upgrade his suit too. So it has more web gadgets such as web grenades, electric webs, EMP webs, etc. After a bit of time, Peter and Beast Boy go down to Tara's cell. She's sitting on her bed, hugging her knees. Peter decides to apologise to her for everything that he said to her in the fight. Tara doesn't really say much, but Peter continues to say that he wants to move on from everything that happened, to let it be the past and to try and work things out with her and the team. Beast Boy too says that he knows that Tara is a good person and that it doesn't have to be this way. Tara then asks if she can really be forgiven. The two boys nod, saying that anyone can be forgiven as long as they put the effort in to be forgiven. After a moment of thinking, she nods, joining the team once again. Starfire acts like nothing happened. Robin and Cyborg are cautious but are willing to give her a second chance, while Raven is unsure about this but still trusts Peter's judgment. Things remain relatively the same until one night, while on patrol, Cinderblock attacks the team, as the villain is outnumbered greatly. This was meant to be the episode for Haunted, but with Slade still being alive, just missing, this episode doesn't happen like in canon. The Robin still has an obsession with trying to stop Slade, and Peter joins him in this feeling. Speaking of Slade, he's in a new lair, planning out his next ideas of how he can take down the Titans. The camera moves to show Slade dressed in his usual attire, although he hasn't worn his mask. He speaks to himself, saying it was a good thing he collected this before the Titans could realise this power is far more than what he expected. He understands why it was so difficult for Spider-Man to remove it. He'll need to control it before it controls him. He needs to see exactly what it can do first before he can use it in battle. Unfortunately, Peter's role is minimal in Season 3, as it's a cyborg-focused season, but that's not to say that Peter doesn't have an important scenes within the storyline. To present this, we'll use Season 3 of Teen Titans as a bridge season. This gives the audience a breather from the tense emotional scenes of Season 2. As stated before, also, I will be following Peter's story specifically since it is a Spider-Man related what if, but I can make exceptions for this when a Spider-Man villain is involved. Now let's get back into the story. A man from Russia makes his way to America after finding out about a certain transforming beast. This, in his eyes, would be the greatest hunt. The scene returns to the Titans. They're all searching for a villain who was robbing a bank. Just then Peter's spider sense acts up, and Peter in the nick of time tackles the Beast Boy, who almost got hit by an arrow. It grazes Peter's arm, and it appears to have some sort of tranquilizer in it. Peter passes out. Before Beast Boy can process what's happening, a man tackles him through a window towards the lab. The rest of the Titans arrive to help out, asking who he is, and the man speaks, saying that his name is Kraven, and he's on the hunt for a beast. Beast Boy smirks, saying that he found the right guy before transforming into a lion and charging at Kraven. The rest of the team goes to help out, but Beast Boy, angry that Peter had to jump in the way to save him, wants to personally kick Kraven's ass. He slams both of them into nearby chemicals, and suddenly Beast Boy gets even more angrier and attacks him wildly, managing to overpower Kraven and knock him out. Peter is still dizzy from the tranquilizer, still manages to quip, saying that you mess with one of them, you mess with all of them. Beast Boy scoffs, saying that that's what happens when you underestimate him, before storming off. Everyone gives him a weird look. Tara asks if he's alright, and he says that he's fine. Later in the tower, Beast Boy acts very aggressively towards everyone. This attitude being very similar to when Peter had the symbiote on. Peter intervenes, saying that whatever is going on with him, they can talk about it. Beast Boy is adamant that he's fine, he's just not going to be looked down upon anymore. Peter nods, saying that while that's respectable, he doesn't have to be so angry about it. He should be proud. In fact, he's proud of him for standing up for that hunter guy and showing him he's no prey. Beast Boy ignores him, saying that he doesn't need his pretty praise, before checking his shoulder as he walks by. Peter webs his arm, telling him to stop. Peter says that he's getting on a little too much, like he was with the symbiote. Beast Boy tells him to get off of him, but Peter says that it's not going to happen until he tells him what's wrong. But suddenly Beast Boy falls on his knees, groaning in pain, as his body transforms into a giant monster. Peter now makes a sarcastic remark, seeing what it was like fighting a monster version of your friend, but from someone else's perspective. But to Peter's surprise, the beast simply roars and throws Peter out of the way and jumps out the window. The other Titans immediately rush in, concerned for what could be happening to Beast Boy. They follow him to a sewer, only to see him fighting Kraven, only he's more animalistic now, like a lion, sort of. The two battle and it's tense, clawing at each other, biting and thrashing around wildly like wild animals, but even so, Kraven seems to be one in most control. Peter and Tara rush in to help. Tara slingshotting Peter towards Kraven with the use of her rock powers and his weapon. Peter kicks Kraven in the face, saying that the furry convention is on the other side of town. Kraven grins, saying that the spider has bite, and he'll deal with him afterwards. Beast Boy then roars and charges back towards Kraven on all fours. Peter yells to Tara that she needs to control her boyfriend before swinging a weapon at Kraven's face, giving Beast Boy the opportunity to slam him into the ground and knock him out. The Titans surround Beast Boy as Tara approaches him, saying that it's just her and it's over now. Beast Boy then calms down and reverts to his normal form. Later, Cyborg runs a scan on Beast Boy and discovers that it was the chemicals that made him act like that. Beast Boy apologizes for what happened, but Peter pats him on the back, saying it wasn't him, and everyone has at least been under the influence of something or someone once here. Beast Boy then smiles at that and says if they can get pizza now, to which everyone happily agrees. Time passes, and one day Peter's at school. Gwen approaches him and asks if he's going to prom. Peter freezes, completely forgetting that prom was a thing. He blurts out saying, yeah, he's going. Gwen then smiles happily and says that's great. She then says that she's going with Eddie, and apparently Harry's bringing someone too. She then asks if Peter's going to bring someone. Flash Thompson chimes in the conversation he was eavesdropping into and asks, is he? Peter blurts out that yeah, he is, and the girl is smoking hot. Flash then smickers and noogies Peter, saying that yeah, right. And Peter then escapes, saying that he'll make a bet on it. If he shows up with a hot date, Flash has to wear a dress for Halloween. Flash then says that that's alright, as long as Peter does the same if he can't. Peter shakes his hand on it, and Flash then leaves. Gwen then gives him a side eye, asking if he really has a date. Not that he can't get one, just that he doesn't really have a decent track record of promises he can't keep. Peter chuckles a little bit and says those are the best kind before hitting off, facepalming as soon as he turns the corner. Later at the tower, Peter paces back and forth, thinking of how he can pull his way out of this one. He's totally humiliated himself. Robin then asks what's wrong, and Peter explains. Robin can't help but snicker himself at at the situation Peter's got himself into. Peter sarcastically thanks him for the morale booster. Robin apologizes and then suggests why is he not ask someone out that he knows? Why is he not ask someone out that he knows? And it doesn't have to be a date, it's just so Peter doesn't have to wear a dress. Peter then asks who he could even ask. Gwen is already taken, Tara is Beast Boy's girl, and Star and Robin have a sort of thing. He stops himself before noticing Robinson's expression, which says it all. Peter's face goes red as he says there's absolutely no way he could ask her out. If he did, then she'd never speak to him again or bash him to the shadow dimension, literally. Robin then shrugs, saying that he's being overdramatic and he should at least try and ask her. Peter sighs and says alright, he guesses it's worth a shot. A little later, Raven is walking down the hall, reading a book. When Peter jogs over to her, she asks what he wants, and Peter says that it's nothing and he just wanted to see how she was doing. She raises an eyebrow and says that she's fine, asking why he's acting so weird. Peter hesitates for a long moment before saying that he wants to know if she'd be down to go to prom with him. She tilts her head, asking if he's serious. He really expects her, the girl who sits in her room most of the time, known for hating people and being interested in nothing other than reading, go to prom. Peter looks down rejectedly, saying that he figured she'd say no. She cuts him off, saying he's putting words in her mouth. She just wants to know why he's asking her of all people. Peter then says simply because she's really cool, pretty, and gets him better than anyone else would. For that reason, he wants to ask her to go with him. Raven then folds her arms before saying and deciding that fine, she'll go. But he shouldn't expect her to be a great dancer or talker. He nods, saying that he'll do whatever he can to make sure she enjoys the night the fullest. She nods and says that if she hates it, then she's leaving him to fend for himself before walking away to the couch. Peter quietly cheers for himself, while the camera turns to Raven, showing a small smirk creep up in her face. Meanwhile, the scene cuts to Slade. He's running tests on the symbiote. It talks with him. They decide to work together, both wanting revenge on Spider-Man, Robin, and all the others. But to do that, he'll need an army himself. Venom says that he can help with that. Venom then serves a piece of himself and attaches it onto one of Slade's robots. The symbiote morphs and bonds with the robot. It hisses and roars before Slade commands it to go after Peter Parker. And that's where I'm going to leave this part off. What do you think of it? And again, I'm sorry this episode also took very long. I was really sick and I literally lost my voice and could not speak for like 3 days. I'm also sorry that this was a slice of life kind of episode, but I hope you enjoyed it regardless. If you have any suggestions for the story, please leave them in the comments below. Y'all not only bumfucked the like goal in one day for the last video, but also made it more than twice the amount. And in a week, we went from around 40 subscribers to 100. So for that, I want to thank y'all so much for the support. To get part 7 out, let's make the like goal 40 likes this time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. See you later.